Hello friends, in this video we will go through the transit system in Vedic astrology. Transit is also called Gochara, and we will also go through the Dasha Transit Interaction and how we can predict any life events based on the Dasha Transit Interactions. So let's get started. In Vedic astrology, transit or Gochara refers to the movement of planets through the zodiac signs relative to an individual's natal chart. So these transits have a significant impact on person's life as they activate specific houses, planets, and yogas in the chart. So the transits mainly we analyze the transit through the Chandra Lagna or keeping moon as the ascendant. The keeping moon or the house where moon is located as the ascendant. So most traditional interpretation are based on the moon sign or Chandra Lagna, as it reflects emotional and psychological responses. Transit effects. The effects of a planet depend on the house it occupies in the transit relative to the moon. For example, Saturn transiting the 4th house from the natal moon can cause stress and challenges, because it's Saturn transiting 4th house is called Kantakasani. So in this example, the white square is the natal chart, and we have a Chandra Lagna chart where the house where moon is located is kept as the first house. Actually, the natal chart of this, the actual natal chart has the AS means ascendant. So the actual natal chart is Libra ascendant, but moon is in the Scorpio sign. So for the Chandra Lagna, we keep Scorpio as the first house where moon is located, and then we place the planets in other houses. So this is the natal chart with Chandra Lagna, and the outer yellow color section is the transit. So the planets are the transiting planets, and the planet inside the white square are the natal planets. So Saturn is in the 4th house. The transiting Saturn is in the 4th house. So it is the 4th house from the moon. So this is a Kantakasani, and it brings stress and challenges for this native. So the current transit of Saturn. So these outer planets are the transiting planet of any particular time, and the inner planets are the natal planet at the birth time. So key principles of transit analysis. We need to look the relative position. Transits are analyzed in relation to the moon sign. Transit could also be analyzed in relation to the ascendant sign. For example, Jupiter transiting the 9th house from the moon indicates growth in areas like travel, spirituality, and higher learning. We also need to look into the impact on houses or the activation of houses. Each house represents specific area of life, like 10th house will represent career, 9th house will represent higher learning, etc. So a planet's transiting through a house activates those themes. It would activate them positively or negatively depending on the planet's nature and aspects. We also need to consider the planet's dignity, that is the natal chart, the strength of the planet in the natal chart. So a planet's dignity, whether it is exalted, debilitated, or in its own sign during transit, affects the quality of its results. For example, Saturn in Capricorn is more constructive than Saturn in Aries, because Saturn in Capricorn is in its own sign, so it is strong in Capricorn, whereas Saturn in Aries is weak because Saturn is debilitated in Aries sign. So we also need to look into the planet's nature, whether the planet is malefic or benefic. So generally malefic planets like Saturn and Mars bring challenges, and benefic planets like Jupiter and Venus brings opportunities. We also need to look into the Dasha or the planetary period. Transits are more impactful if they align with the running planetary period or the running Dasha. So here are two example charts. The left side is the example chart, the transit of the Chandra Lagna and the planets transiting based on the Chandra Lagna, and the right side is the normal Lagna chart, and the outer planets are the transiting planets based on the Lagna chart. Effects of individual planetary transits. So Sun transits from one, like Sun stays in one sign for around 1 month, and then it goes to the next sign, like it moves to the next sign after 1 month. So Sun represents vitality, leadership, and external focus. So Sun transiting the 10th house may enhance career opportunities and recognition. Moon stays in one sign for around 2.5 days. Moon influences emotions and mental well-being, and Moon transiting the 5th house might bring creativity and emotional joy. Mars stays in one sign for around 45 days. Mars brings energy, drive, and sometimes conflict. Example, Mars in the 7th house may bring passionate relationships but also potential arguments. Mercury stays in one sign for around 25 days. Mercury impacts communication, learning, and financial transactions. Mercury in the 2nd house favors speech, financial planning. Jupiter stays in one sign for around 1 year. Jupiter is a benefic planet. It brings growth, wisdom, and opportunities. Example, Jupiter in the 9th house enhances higher education, spiritual growth, and luck. Venus stays in one sign for around 23 days. It influences love, luxury, and creativity. Example, Venus in 4th house may bring harmony at home or interest in art and luxury. Saturn stays in one sign for 2.5 years, around 2.5 years. Saturn is a slow-moving planet, and it teaches discipline, hard work, and karmic lessons. Example, Saturn in the 7th house can test relationships or partnerships, but also strengthen them through effort. Rahu and Ketu. So Rahu and Ketu are always opposite to each other, and they always move in retrograde motion. And Rahu and Ketu stay in one sign for around 18 months, that is 1.5 years. Rahu creates material desires, and Ketu fosters detachment and spiritual growth. So for example, when Rahu is in the 10th house, then Ketu will always be in the opposite of 10th house, that is in the 4th house. So if Rahu is in the 10th house, so Rahu can bring unconventional career path. So Rahu denotes conventional nature, and 10th house denotes career. So when Rahu is in the 10th house, it can bring unconventional career paths. So similarly, Ketu denotes detachment, and 4th house denotes domestic comforts. So if Ketu is in the 4th house, it may create detachment from domestic comforts. Now let's look into the Ashtakavarga in transit analysis. First, let's look into the key concept of Ashtakavarga. So there is a planet's bindu or benefic points. So each planet has a score of 0 to 8 in every zodiac sign. So we consider the 7 planets excluding Rahu and Ketu. So we consider the 7 planets in Ashtakavarga. So they are Sun, Moon, Mars, Mercury, Venus, Saturn, and Jupiter. So we consider these 7 planets in Ashtakavarga. So each planet has a score of 0 to 8 in every zodiac sign. Higher points 4 or more gives favorable results. Lower points 3 or less gives challenges and obstacles. Vinna Ashtakavarga, or individual planet's strength. Each planet score in a sign show its potential strength there. Example, Saturn in a sign with 4 points will delay but eventually reward, and Saturn with fewer points causes prolonged hardships. Samudaya Ashtakavarga, or total score of all planets, combined score of all planets in each house. So 30 plus point indicates that the house is strong, prosperous during transit, and below 25 points means the house is weak and it brings difficulties, and from 25 to 30 it's neutral. So transit rules using Ashtakavarga. Transit over high scoring houses. Planets transiting signs with 30 plus points in Samudaya Ashtakavarga bring favorable life events related to that house. Transit over low scoring houses. Challenges arise when planets move through houses with less than 25 points. We can expect delays and obstacles. Benefic planets in high scoring signs. Jupiter, Venus, Mercury, and Moon give maximum benefits when transiting sign with 4 plus point in their Vinna Ashtakavarga. Malefic planets in low scoring signs. Saturn, Mars, Rahu, and Ketu causes greater difficulties when transiting signs with fewer than 4 points in their Vinna Ashtakavarga. Special transits to watch. So mainly the special transits means the transit of slow moving planets like Saturn, Jupiter, Rahu, and Ketu. So these slow moving planets brings some long lasting changes in your life. So they are special transits to watch. So there is the 7.5 years transit of Sade Sati. Sade Sati is the transit of Saturn in the 12th house, in the first house, and second house from the moon. So this brings major life events, life lessons, challenges, and karmic payback. The results vary based on the Saturn's dignity and the natal chart. So if Saturn is positive in the natal chart, then it will not bring that much of difficulties, like the Sadesati will be generally positive. But if Saturn is negative in the chart, then this will bring a lot of challenges. So since Saturn stays in one sign for 2.5 years, so when Saturn transits to the 12th house, first house, and second house, in these three houses from the moon, then the total will be of 7.5 years. There is another period called Saturn's transit period called Saturn-Dhaya. So when Saturn transits the 4th or the 8th house from the moon, it is called Saturn-Dhaya or small Panati. It creates mental or emotional stress, but also brings growth through hardship. And there is the Jupiter returns. Jupiter returns to its natal position every 12 years because Jupiter transit one sign for around 1 year. So in 12 years, it will return back to its original position. So the Jupiter return is marked by growth, optimism, and spiritual development. Rahu Ketu axis. So Rahu and Ketu stays in one sign for around 18 months or 1.5 years. So every 18 months there will be a change of sign by Rahu and Ketu, and this brings transformative events in the houses they occupy. For example, if Rahu is in the first house and Ketu is in the 7th house, so Rahu in the first house, so the native will focus on self-identity and personal ambition, and when Ketu is transiting the 7th house, it will bring challenges in relationships due to detachment or misunderstandings. Similarly, if Rahu is transiting in the 2nd house, then Ketu will be transiting in the 8th house. So Rahu in 2nd house will bring desire for wealth and material possessions. Ketu in the 8th house will bring karmic lessons related to shared resources, inheritance, or hidden matters. Similarly, Rahu in 3rd house and Ketu in 9th house. So Rahu transiting the 3rd house will increase communication, courage, and networking. And Ketu transiting the 9th house will bring spiritual questioning or detachment from traditional beliefs. Now let's look into the interactions between planets during transit. So we need to consider different factors while analyzing the transits. So there is a conjunction factor. 2 or more planets in the same house would amplify or complicate results if 2 or more planets are transiting through the same house. For example, Jupiter and Venus together in the 7th house may bring a great relationship but excessive indulgence. We also need to consider the aspects of the planets. Transiting planets influence not only the house they occupy but also the house they aspect. So Saturn aspects the 3rd, 7th, and 10th house from its position, influencing courage, partnership, and career. Transit over natal planets. When a transiting planet meets a natal planet, it activates that planet's energy in your life. For example, Jupiter transiting over natal Venus can bring love, wealth, or artistic success. So in this example chart, so Saturn is in the 8th house in the natal chart, and Mars is transiting through the 8th house. So Mars is not only activating the 8th house, it is also activating the planet Saturn through its transit. So this way we can analyze the transit over natal planets. And so for example, yeah, we can see Saturn. Let's check the conjunction here. So Saturn, Sun and Mercury, 3 planets are transiting through the 4th house, so they will have a mixed results, because Saturn will also influence Sun will influence Mercury, and Mercury will influence Saturn. So these 3 will influence each other, and this will give a mixed result. And regarding the aspect, so Saturn is transiting through the 4th house, so Saturn has 3rd, 7th and 10th house aspect. So Saturn will be activating the 4th house as well as 3rd house from its position. So 1, 2, 3, it will be activating the 6th house. 7th house from its position means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this will also be activating the 10th house, and 10th house from its position means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10th. So it will also be activating the 1st house. Now let's look into the retrograde, fast moving and slow moving planets. So retrograde planets, or the Vakri planets, Vakri grahas, means they appear to move backward in the sky, symbolizing introspection, delays and karmic lessons. Their effects are stronger, often causing unexpected disruption, re-evaluation or revisiting past situations. For example, a Jupiter retrograde may delay benefits but lead to deeper spiritual or philosophical insights. Fast moving planets. So fast moving planets are Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus and Mars. They stay in one sign for around, like, some Moon stays in one sign for 2.5 days, Sun stays in one sign for 30 days, and Mars stays in one sign for 45 days. So they do not stay in one sign for more than 45 days. So because of that, they are called fast moving planets, and they have short-term influences affecting daily life and immediate events. Their impact is quick, intense but temporary, and they are important during conjunction, house changes and transits over natal planets. And slow moving planets, so they are Saturn, Jupiter, Rahu and Ketu. They are considered major planets in the transit, and they have the most long lasting and transformative effects due to their slow movements. Transit timing with Dasha. So the interaction between transit and Dasha is a cornerstone of Vedic astrology. While transit provides the overarching theme of a time period, Dasha provide the overarching themes of a time period, transit fine-tune how events manifest. So together they reveal when and how significant event might occur. So transits are most impactful when they align with planets Dasha or Antardasha. For example, Saturn transiting your 10th house during its Mahadasha is likely to reshape your career significantly. So life events occur when a transit aligns with the current Dasha ruler. For example, marriage is often likely during a Venus Dasha when Jupiter transits the 7th house. Key principles of Transit-Dasha interaction. So Dasha is always the foundation. So planet ruling the Dasha sets the tone for life events during its period. For example, during Saturn Mahadasha, transits of Saturn and planets influenced by Saturn are more potent. Transit always acts as a trigger. So transits activate the potential of the Dasha. If Jupiter Dasha promises growth, Jupiter's favorable transits through 1st, 5th, 9th house may bring opportunities like promotions, marriage or education. So we need to keep in mind that there should be a promise from the Dasha. Only then transit will work. Transit will not work by itself. It should be supported by the Dasha. So we also need to consider the strength of the Dasha planet. If the Dasha planet is strong and well placed in the natal chart, its transits are likely to yield more favorable results. And if the Dasha planet is weak or afflicted in the natal chart, then even a beneficial transit might yield mixed or delayed outcomes. And then combined role of subperiods or Antardasha. So Antardasha planet acts as a secondary influence, and its transits further refine results. Example, during Saturn Mahadasha and Jupiter Antardasha, both Saturn and Jupiter transits need to be analyzed for specific outcomes. So let's look on how transit and dasha walk together. So there could be favorable transit or challenging transits or mixed results. So favorable transit during a positive dasha. When a dasha planet is benefic and the transiting planets align positively through good houses or exaltation, significant growth occurs. Example, in Jupiter Mahadasha and Jupiter transiting the 9th house may bring spiritual growth, higher education, and international opportunities. The next one is challenging transit during a difficult dasha. If both the dasha planet and transits are unfavorable, this period may bring challenges. For example, Rahu Mahadasha and Rahu transiting the 8th house can cause sudden upheavals, health issues, or karmic challenges. And there is mixed results when a dasha planet is favorable but the transits are challenging, or vice versa. Results will be delayed. Results will be inconsistent or require significant effort. For example, in Jupiter Mahadasha with Saturn transiting the 4th house might bring career success due to Jupiter, but at the expense of domestic peace due to Saturn. To analyze the interaction step by step, first of all, we need to examine the dasha planet. Is it benefic? Like, is the dasha planet benefic or malefic in your chart? What houses does it rule, and where is it placed? And then we need to evaluate the dasha promises, like what themes or events does the dasha signify based on the natal chart. Then we will assess the transits. Where are the dasha and antardasha planets transiting? Are the transiting planets activating key houses or planets in the natal chart? Whether the transiting planets are activating the houses, any key houses, or any key planets. And finally, we synthesize the result. We combine the dasha's overall theme with the timing and nature of the transits to predict outcomes. Example of dasha transit interaction. 1. Jupiter Mahadasha with Saturn transit. In Jupiter Mahadasha promises growth and prosperity. Saturn transiting the 10th house from moon or ascendant. So if Jupiter is well placed, the period may bring career growth through structured efforts. If Jupiter is weak, Saturn's transit may delay opportunities requiring extra efforts. And another example is Rahu Mahadasha with Rahu transit. So Rahu Mahadasha can bring unconventional or unexpected events. So if Rahu is transiting the 11th house, so if Rahu is strong in the natal chart, the transit may bring financial gains, network opportunities, and social success. And if Rahu is weak or afflicted, so this may result in overindulgence, misunderstandings, or conflicts with friends. So remedies for challenging transits, we can chant mantras. For example, Saturn mantra is Om Sham Shanisharaya Nama. So we can chant the Saturn mantra during Sadhisati. We can donate items. For example, we can donate items regarding the malefic planets. For example, if you are having Saturn Sadhisati and Saturn is negative in your chart, then you can donate items related to Saturns like black sesame seeds. And then we can also try strengthening weak planets by wearing gemstones or performing specific rituals. But before wearing gemstones, it is always advisable to contact a astrologer, because if we we only strengthen benefic planets in our chart, and we shouldn't strengthen the malefic planets in the chart. So the key takeaways from the transit systems are: transit timing is crucial. Transit influence life events, but their impact is strongest when aligned with the dasha period. There are slow and fast movers. Slow moving planets have long lasting effects. Fast moving planets have temporary effects in life. Retrograde planets intensify their effects, causing delays, introspection and revisiting past situation. We need to consider house and sign impact. The house of a planet transit affects the area of life, while the zodiac sign modifies how its energy manifests. We also need to consider the conjunction and aspects of the planets. Key events occur during significant planetary conjunction or aspects. And then there are benefic and malefic planets. Benefic planets bring growth, happiness, and success, and malefic planets create challenges that lead to growth through discipline and lessons. So the bottom line is transits act as triggers, activating karmic events when aligned with your dasha and natal chart placements. So basically, transits are the triggers of any dasha period. So that's all for the transit video. Hopefully you found this video helpful. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.